My name is Genesis Owusu, and these are records in my life.
Thank you so much for being on Records in My Life. How are you today?
I'm good. Feeling good. Just got into Vancouver. Last stop of the North American Struggler Tour. Feeling good.
It's been a whirlwind. I mean, you've played an amazing amount of venues like arenas with Paramore. And how have you found the shows? Have you been happy with the response from the live shows?
Yeah. Every show has just been banger after banger. I don't know how to not. It's live performance is like my favorite thing ever, and I feel like it's like the thing I'm best at. So yeah, it's been great.
Fantastic. Struggler, congratulations on the accolades. It's rightfully so. It's a wonderful sounding record. Tell me how it came together and some of your favorites that you collaborated with.
Yeah, for sure. So this album was made like in between touring the first album. So I was kind of like stopped off in LA, then stopped off in Australia, then in Lithuania, and just like around the world. And so a few tracks were made with the band, the ragtag band that I created the first album with, some freaks in LA, and added them to the freaks that I have in my band from Australia, and we made a freaky album.
Cool. And give us a couple of names of like...
Yeah, so Jason Evergan, he's a guy who's like behemoth pop producer, like Maroon 5, like Madonna behemoth, which was so crazy that I was able to get into a studio with him and make like some crazy alternative, like dance punk tracks. He did Leaving the Light, Alcazar, and Freak Boy, and back home with my Australian band, like I said, Band of Freaks, Kirin J Callinan, Touch Sensitive, Julian Sudek, Andrew Klippel, all like virtuosos in their own right. And they did a lot of the smoother tracks. That's Life, Stuck to the Fan, See You There. Mikey Freedom Heart, Simon, Nate Campany, Carl Shearer, Pat Morrissey. Yeah, star-studded cast.
That's incredible. You just named the whole group. Kirin J, I can't pronounce his last name.
Callinan.
I saw him in a small venue. He's an interesting cat. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just curious, how did you guys cross paths?
So when I was about to make my first album, I kind of told my managers, like, just put me in a room with like the freakiest people you know. He just kind of brought in a group of freaks, as I requested, into a den, like a bedroom-sized room.
That's fantastic.
And I'd never met any of them before. And we all shook hands, and then we created the first album together.
I wanted to ask you which record recently, it can be an old one or a new one, but it's really motivating you and pushing you to make music or inspiring you.
This year I've been really revisiting the Caroline Polachek album. What she does with her voice is like incredible. And I saw her Tiny Desk recently, and like seeing her do that acoustically was also just insane. My boys from Australia, King Gizzard, their Petro Dragonic album is pretty insane.
One of 20. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, very
12
hard
in
to
1
keep
year,
up with.
right, or something?
Something like that. Something ridiculous. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, they're crazy. The Yves Tumor album. I've been listening to the Berserk soundtrack. Berserk is a manga, one of my favorite like pieces of literature ever. But they had an anime adaptation in '97. Soundtrack is incredible, so I've been revisiting that. That's been my year.
go back to your youth, although you're still in your. I use this line all the time. Forgive me, but you're still a young. You're still a young fella. Give me a record that really struck you and inspired you.
I think one of the biggest ones would probably be "In Search of" by N.E.R.D. I think that was like one of my first experiences with like the whole genre bending kind of phenomenon. The way they did like the hip hop and the punk and the electronic sounds with the R&B and the funk. Yeah, all very foundational to what I do now. I don't need a gun. I can hurt you with my tongue, and I'm trying not to burn while I'm living. I feel like when I am in a place where I need some motivation, Idol's second album, Brutalism, does a lot for me. Yeah, I think the first ever Idol song I heard was Mother from that album.
Beautiful.
My mother worked 16 hours. 6 days a week. My mother worked 17 hours, 7 days a week. Man, incredible. Like, very simple, straight to the point, but manages to say so much with so little. So yeah, I hold that album very near and dear to me.
From a production point of view, your record is, I mean, there's so many different like sounds and you know, inspirations. What's a record for you that you listen to still and astounds you? Like, how did they do that?
Twisted Fantasy by Kanye is definitely one that like astounds me kind of every time I listen to it. Timeless. Breaks my heart to see what Kanye is up to these days.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll always have that time. That album, everything from the album itself, the production, but the rollout, the aesthetic, all just like mind blowing every time I delve in again.
Your phone rings. Richard Branson is on the line. He says, Kofi, I want to take you up on a rocket. Which record do you take with you?
So my favorite album of all time is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. But I don't know if that's rocket music, to be honest. I don't know. I might do like a kind of blue, Miles Davis, or like a Love Supreme, John Coltrane.
Beautiful.
I feel like that's more like exploring through space.
New discovery, which we should be listening to, which we haven't heard yet.
I guess a more recent discovery or like breakthrough, Tizo Touchdown. He just released his debut album. Very, very wacky. To me, that album kind of sounds like a person who's like captured the essence of childlike wonder and made it into music. She know that I'm a player. I know she don't be playing. When you decide to play the game, just grab me by my hand. Going back to Australia, electronic house, hip house tech artist, Skin on Skin, constantly making bangers. Yeah, everyone should go listen to both of those people.
Fantastic choices. Thanks so much for being on Records of My Life. We're just going on to the speed round,
right,
and then we'll let you go and chill out before your show. Weed, water, or wine to listen to your favorite record or to write?
Water. Water all day. Water's all I drink. Water and throat coat tea, the only things that enter my body.
The next question was coffee with an artist, alive or dead, but we'll switch it to tea, no problem. Give us a throat coat with somebody alive or dead you like to chat with.
Andre 3000. Sometimes I see videos of him like wandering in the wild, and like when people capture him on film, it's like Bigfoot. It's like a Bigfoot sighting, and he'll just like be walking around Tokyo or Philadelphia in overalls and like a flute, and I just want to pick that man's brain.
Fantastic. What's the first record you think of from your high school years?
I Uh, J. Cole's mixtape, Friday Night Lights. It reminds me of my high school years because it reminds me of the whole mixtape website, thatpiff.com era. It was one of the first mixtapes that I ever downloaded. Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Fantastic. Words of wisdom for your fans and our audience.
The world is an absurd, chaotic place, sometimes dark and scary, looming, but it has been for a very long time. And we're still here. Our parents made it. Our grandparents made it. And we're going to keep making it. As small as we may seem in this grand world, like little roaches, the roach is the hardest one to kill. So keep roaching.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. The show is really nothing without you. So please like or subscribe or check out our Patreon. And this year we've switched it up and you can win a record just for leaving a comment. Thank you again and we love you. Peace.